And now, I don't need to say it, but I will try to say it because I have rehearsed. Okay. We have our friends from Germany, the IBG, Internationale Begegnung in Gemeinschaftsdiensten, EW, with Christoph Schneider.
Dankeschön.
Dankeschön.
Okay, as you heard, we come from Internationale Begegnung Gemeinschaftsdiensten. Just for your amusement, Gemeinschaftsdienst is one, because it is linked to what was said before. Gemeinschaftsdienst is one possible translation of work camp in Germany, because you could not use work camp in a German name in, I don't know, in the 60s when we were founded. Of course, it was not possible. And therefore, the official name of this in Germany is Jugendgemeinschaftsdienst, which is a very long, typical German word. Part of our name now. And, okay, so we are a German NGO. We are founded in the 60s, as you heard. We are mainly organizing international work camps, around 30, 40 per year. Besides, we do not differ so much from STS. From the activities. What is very important for us in the work camps is on one side the accessibility to the projects and on the other side the impact on the local community. So some may ask, okay, international volunteering, what has this to do with the local level? Because it is not always the case from my point of view. But in most, or at least usual projects, are local actions as well, as we have always a local partner, of course. And the local partner defines a local need, and the international volunteers come to fulfill this local need. And also an international work camp offers the local citizens an possibility of international exchange and intercultural learning. In IBG, the local partners are either citizens' initiatives, local associations, or local communities. And also then, if we get the feedback from the partners, they confirm that sharing this role to host an international work camp can bind local people together and can either create or at least strengthen local networks between citizens. And sometimes the result of the international work camp is that international volunteers are not needed anymore in this village, because new structures were established that the citizens from this village are doing their need, or fulfill their need on their own. Then the invitation of an international work camp can also promote a local initiative and give an additional public attention to a local need or to a local project. I think this is what we heard also from Finland, that through these international volunteers present there, also the importance of the National Reserve was more obvious for local people. Then the support of international volunteers can give a new motivation to the involved local volunteers, and can also attract other citizens who are not involved in this local project up to now. And the involved local citizens can also experiment all the three different dimensions of international volunteering. That means working together in an international group, learning from each other and with each other, and sharing the daily life, of course, including all the parties and so on. So we have now two small examples for you. One very old traditional partner of IBG and then one very new one. Example number one is the village of Hüttensleben. We call it the village at the former border because you may remember that Germany was separated in two Germanys, and this village was directly on the east side of the border in a restricted area, and therefore, of course, it was quite isolated. As nobody could go there, even relatives had to apply a long time before for a kind of visa if they want to meet the family or whatever. And after the German unification, when the wall fell down, a group of local volunteers in this village, they started an initiative to preserve 400 meters of the complete frontier protection system as a kind of memorial. In the beginning, the acceptance in the village was not very high, which was quite obvious because people were saying, okay, I had this wall for 25, 30 years in front of my window. I don't want to see it anymore. But in the end, now also with the help of these international work camps, this changed a lot. So since 15 years now, a group of international volunteers comes every summer to support the local volunteers in their work of the maintenance, and they work together with the local villagers in this. They also organize an international rock festival at the former wall every year. So to make it to a it's not only a historical monument or memorial, it is still a cultural place. And we saw a lot of differences now. If I look from the very first year in 1998, when the very first international volunteers came there, and I compare it with now, there's a huge difference within the local community. So what we can see is, as I told before, that what we can see is that young people got an idea that learning English might be very useful, that they can really use the English they learn in school. And also older people learn from the exchange with the volunteers. And this presence of the international volunteers gave a lot of new dynamic to this village, because many young people were leaving to find a job somewhere else because it was really isolated. But it is now really a kind of fixed date in the calendar of the village, and many people are booking their holidays according to the camp days so that they will not miss it, the work camp. And as I told before, the acceptance and importance of the memorial has grown a lot through these positive projects. One very small example beside this for a new dynamic in the village is that also through the personal contact between local villagers and international volunteers, completely other partnerships were established. With, for example, one volunteer, a senior volunteer, even coming from England, from Ipswich, and he came to this village. He was not able to communicate with the people, but he was the starting point of a partnership between his Quaker parish in England and the local Protestant parish in this village. And for 5 or 6 years after it's groups of the two villages, the two parishes met and had an exchange and so on. And last but not least, the long-lasting local engagement of the local volunteers was supported, as really to welcome the volunteers gave an additional motivation to them. It is for them, a kind of a thank you, because it is a kind of highlight for them as well, and it gives motivation to really continue one more year with the maintenance of the project, because of course the number of people in the village is quite limited, and it really needs a lot of work, this project, and if you are engaged there, you really have also to spend a lot of energy in this. And therefore, I think the international work camps were also very helpful. Okay, that's for this example. And then?
Yeah. I'm going to present you the new example because I participated there as the work camp leader of this work camp, well, as one of two work camp leaders. My work camp took place in Holberg. It's a very little village in Bavaria. So if I say little, it's really little because they didn't even have their own supermarket. So it was really like, yeah, a bit of loss in this area. And in July last year, there were certain volunteers from international countries that went there to participate in the local life of the communities and to support the community life there. And so our main task was to build a playground for the children there because they didn't have their own playground. And yeah, as the village is small and a little bit isolated, it was very sad for the children because they couldn't go outside and play together in the summer. And the building of the playground was done in cooperation with an organization called the House of the Shepherd. And it's a boarding school for teenagers with difficulties. And our instructor came from the school. And every day, or almost every day, he brought 1 or 2 young people who came to build a playground with us because for them, yeah, it was kind of a new experience to do something in a community and to do it with international people. And even though there were sometimes communication problems because we only spoke English, most of us, and they had a strange Bavarian accent, but we still managed to build a playground. And so for everyone it was real nice to see that we were still able to communicate together, even if we didn't always have the same language. Besides that, we always also renovated the firehouse, for example, or the local soccer field. And through the work we did for these communities, there was always an evening or an afternoon on the same day for coming together and talking about the experiences we had. And so for the local people, for a lot of them, it was the first time that they really got in touch with so many people and so many different cultures. And I think really reached the aim to motivate the people to want to know more about that. Because in the last, on the last weekend we participated in a local festival of the village they have every second year. And we created our own stand beside the other stands that were from the local communities. And we had some information paper about work camps and about what you can do as a volunteer. And this camp was also part of the Alliance anniversary program. So we had the wish tree. I don't know if some people know about this, but for the anniversary of the Alliance, there were some camps where we put up a wish tree, and the local people, for example, and everyone could come and make a wish. And we were very glad because a lot of the kids and the young people came and said, my wish is to become a volunteer one day too. And so it was very nice because we really opened the mind of these young people and they wanted to go out in the world and to see more things too. So all in all, I think we had a really good experience, and the instructor of the playground told me in the end that maybe he wants to start a new work camp on his own as a local partner. So I think we really got the message into this area of the work camps.
Yes, and as summary, if you are here as a local association, Greek association, as a representative of one, we can just encourage you to think about inviting an international group of volunteers, because it really stimulates a lot your local engagement and gives an added value to your action. And of course, with ELIX you would have a good partner at your side, and we all the present international organizations would be happy to send volunteers to you. So, thank you. Do you have questions?